JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 22nd of October 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course, our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now, jumping into the charts. Now, quickly, I want to pick up here on Nikkei. So the index drifted lower this morning. However, it still remains in this pattern that I started talking about from around last week or even week before that. But basically, the pattern here that we have ourselves is a rising wedge. Of course, such patterns tend to break to the downside, but until we get that break of the lower side of the wedge, we cannot really talk about any upside. So sorry, any downside, sorry. So at the moment, basically the upside scenario is kind of still in play, although we did get a bit of a correction here within this pattern, but still overall, if the lower side of the rising wedge continues to provide support, then yes, another push higher here could be possible. Although I would now, given looking at this picture, I would prefer to wait for a push above the 23,725 zone right here, just to be a little bit more on the safe side, because as you can see, this barrier continues to provide resistance. So a nice good pop above it would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and more buyers could potentially join in here. However, still, if you want to aim for much higher levels, then a break of this upper side of the rising wedge would be required. But at the moment, the index is trading closer to the lower side of it. Let's see how today's European and US equities are going to perform, because if they're going to decline, then well, we could see the cash index of Nikkei drifting further south, and basically tomorrow, for example, you could be getting ourselves a nice opening gap here to the downside, and maybe even below this lower side of this rising wedge. But again, as I said, for now this is a bit of just speculation for you guys, and just to keep in mind. But if this lower side continues to provide support, then we could see a nice rebound here and a push higher again. Shanghai Composite, the same story here, although we did see a bit of a decline here. To be honest, I wouldn't say that we're bearish on this one, because as I mentioned before, as mentioned in my recent videos, that here this little move lower could be seen as a correction, because in a way it could also be seen as a prolonged bullish flag, because yes, we do have our pole here nicely here, this the October 12th candle, but then we are seeing these kind of smaller candles here declining, moving lower, but not even dropping below this hurdle here, this 3,280 zone. That's the high of the 9th of October. I talked about this one, and I was saying that if this gets broken and we see a nice daily close below it, then yes, we could consider some lower areas. But at the moment, it's really difficult on this one, to be honest, even with the upside. Although if we consider this as a bullish flag, still to be on a safe side, I would prefer to see a push above the 3,361 zone. Ideally, a nice daily close here could do the trick for more buyers. German index, the German DAX. Yesterday drifted lower, came very close to this, and actually, well, to be honest, we can actually take that already as a test of this lower side, lower bound of the rising channel. The index also tested this key support zone, the low of the current lowest point of October. It closed still above it. This level is around the 12,540 territory. The index still closed above it, and if we take a look at the cash index right now, well, we can actually see that the price is now below this area. It's currently sitting at around 12,500, so not far from this hurdle, but basically just slightly fractionally below this lower side of the rising channel, which means that, well, I mean, there could be a bit of a problem here for the bulls. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it today, because just in case that it suddenly sharply reverses back up here, but yeah, we'll for now be very careful. If it continues to slide, it may test this 200-day EMA shown as the black line, but if that gets broken, now this could be a bit of a disappointing moment here for the German index, so let's keep an eye on this one. Now jumping into DXY, so another index, but this one is a dollar index. Quick update here. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, because yesterday I talked about this a lot, and basically, yes, after we broke the 93 territory, it kind of it started moving lower, and in a way my next target was this 92.24 zone, and to be honest, it still is, given the current situation. As you can see that, yes, it drifted lower below this 93 territory, and even fell below the 92.78 zone marked near the lows of the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of September. So it dropped below that, and today, although we're seeing a bit of a correction here to the upside, still the price remains below that 92.78 zone. So if it continues to trade here below this, then yes, like I said, my next target is the 92.24, and then I'll take it from there. Gold is, well, it's confusing. First of all, we can get rid of this downside line, although yesterday we violated it, and today we're seeing a bit of a retracement back below it. So in a way, it didn't really provide much kind of strength, so that's why we can get rid of it. And now we'll mainly focus on this potential idea of seeing a nice ascending triangle. So even with that downside line, when I had it here, still, guys, if you remember, I kept talking about that wait for a confirmation break above the 1933 territory, and look at it, yesterday it didn't really kind of overcome that barrier. So that's why this level here still is in play, still is the one to watch. If we do get a nice pop above the 1933 territory, then yes, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and well, the whole kind of ascending triangle idea would play out nicely according to all the TA rules. But again, as I said, at the moment, probably the best option is to kind of remain neutral, because it's at the moment the commodity is undecisive. But if it does pop above the 1933 zone, then yes, higher levels could be met. In terms of the downside, the same idea also stays in play. I need to see a drop below the 1877 territory in order to get a little bit more excited with the downside. Now, Bitcoin, and this is just a quick update on this one. And look at it. I've talked a lot about this recently, and basically yesterday it overshot this highlighted territory. And this is what I was saying, that if this area provides resistance, and we could see then a bit of a correction back down, where maybe this idea could work out as a nice ascending triangle. But also what I said, that if it doesn't, then, well, I mean, of course that changes the game. I mean, it did push strongly through this highlighted area, through this resistance area here. Now, at the moment, what I will do here is I'm going to keep an eye on this one. First of all, the level that it almost reached, and let me just double check. Actually, I think that it reached it already. So that's the high of the the highest point of July, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's correct. The highest point of July, that's what the crypto here tested yesterday, and it drifted back down. So in a way, what we could do here is drag this curved arrow, we can recycle it, and basically the idea could be like this, that if it continues to trade below this 13,174 territory, we could see a bit of a correction here, a move lower. But if this highlighted area right here acts the same as this one, this 11,185 territory that I mentioned previously, if that 11,185 zone, if it acts the same way, then yes, I mean, a nice rebound here could be possible, and a push higher. Then that's what we would consider again. So if the price somehow drops back below this highlighted area, then maybe we could see a bit of a larger correction here to the downside. Quick update on Ethereum. Ethereum is still just a kind of on track to potentially break its key resistance area right here. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Now, ideally, I would like to see that daily candle staying above this area. Now, yes, we did get a bit of an overshoot yesterday, but we didn't really get that daily candle staying above this 395 territory. So if we do see that today, then higher levels could be met here. We could consider a further move north. Now, if it doesn't, all this area right here will be a bit of a neutral one for us. So this area between the 365 and 395 will be somewhat of a neutral one for us. If it drops below the 365 zone, then, well, I mean, we could consider a bit of a larger correction to the downside, because don't forget that we're still trading above this upside support line taken from the low of the 13th of March. Now, AUDJPY, and look at this perfect kind of balancing above this 200-day EMA here, guys. I mean, this 200-day EMA does do the trick. I mean, apparently, you can see it did the same trick here, for example, in the end of September. It's now doing the same now at the end of October. However, if you want to aim for some lower levels on this one, we need to see it. We need to see that break below this 200-day EMA and below the 73.97 territory marked by the lowest point of September. Only then I will consider some lower areas, because here it's a little bit too tight, it's a little bit too tricky, so be very careful on that one. USDJPY, now look at this beautiful move to the downside. Yesterday it sold off heavily, drifted below the 105.30 zone, below the 105 territory, well, and almost ended up testing this 104.19. so I'm still keeping an eye on this level. This was my target. If you remember last time when I covered USDJPY, I spoke about this 105 territory, because if that gets broken, then we could consider a move towards the 104.19 zone. At the moment, I'm still targeting this area. Let's see if it can push towards this level, and then I'll take it from there. Then I want to see how it's going to behave near this level. Will it have a nice false breakout as it did here on the 21st of September, or will it actually drift further south? So again, at the moment, yeah, for now it's the idea is still to the downside. And by the way, if you can see that here, for example, the potential kind of head and shoulders pattern worked out nicely. The short-term head and shoulders pattern did do the trick here, as you can see. So for now, like I said, guys, for now, keep your eyes on this one, and let's see how far this can go to the downside, and if it, in general, if it can do that. If it cannot, then if it starts climbing back above the 21-day EMA, then maybe the bulls are getting back in control. GBPUSD, so this one popped higher nicely to the upside. As you can see, it also overcame my 1.3083 level that I talked about yesterday. yesterday I mentioned this pair, and I was saying that yes, a nice good pop above the 1.30 zone kind of increased the chances of a potential further move north. Then the 1.3083 level is the one to watch, but if that gets broken, now this is where it could become very interesting for more buyers. Now don't get me wrong, we could see a bit of a maybe correction back down, but if this 1.3083 territory does provide good support, a nice good rebound here back to the upside could be possible. So let's keep an eye on that one. GBPCAD, now here, I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, as you can see by the shifted arrows here, but this idea here of waiting for a break above the 1.7148 zone did work out nicely. You can see that the rate climbed heavily above this barrier and kind of and seems to be willing to move further north. However, as you can see now, we do have this downside line. So in a way, for now, what you could consider is something like this, guys. Yes, yesterday we had some news coming out from the whole kind of Brexit negotiation table, that they are willing to continue negotiating, and if I'm not mistaken, let me just they're restarting the negotiations and aiming for a deal by mid-November. Of course, I mean, as you probably already know, that's probably not going to happen, but nevertheless, I hope something good happens out of that. But at the moment, it's the headline did help the pound strengthen against its major counterparts, but again, that might fade away very quickly. So that's the reason why I'm keeping an eye on this downside line here and on GBPCAD, and if it holds, if it does provide resistance, another slide here could be possible. EURGBP, now this one is, I mean, this one lives its own life here, and basically after I talked a lot about this one. So first of all, yes, the falling wedge idea worked out nicely. The only thing is that initially when I was saying that yes, that's my target, this is going to be the 0.9157, that's going to be my target, it just fell shy of a few pips from reaching it. I mean, we could take that as a nice result, but still, I mean, ideally I wanted to see this area right here, but again, hopefully everybody had their stop losses in place on this one, because this one reversed sharply yesterday, as you can see, and it drifted all the way towards this other highlighted area. But on the downside that I talked about previously, this 0.9025 zone, and it drifted below it, and today it's trading below it as well, and it's also trading below the 100-day EMA shown as the green line. So basically this kind of increases the chances for a potential further move south. First of all, let me get rid of these lines here. That's no longer valid, no longer needed. But now basically what I'm saying, what I also mentioned to you a while ago, that keep your eyes on this potential kind of range here. So at the moment we are slightly below that range and below that 100-day EMA shown as the green line. So this increases the chances for a potential further move lower. But if it does move lower, then my next target is the 200-day EMA. It's currently near the 0.8940 zone. It might change a little bit depending on how this pair is going to move, but yeah, at the moment, guys, it is a very difficult pair to trade, but some might see it as an exciting one. I mean, I don't know, everybody has their own preferences, but again, yeah, be very careful. The most important, have your stop losses in place. And yes, initially this idea worked out nicely for us. So this is a perfect example, basically, when, let's say, if you had a falling wedge, it broke out nicely to the upside. This is a level that I was talking about, this 0.1990. We had a nice pop above it. It moved further north, and this is when you are basically in profit. If you were in profit somewhere around here already, then yes, you quickly shift your stop loss just before the entry, or just say above the buy entry, and this way you could at least protect yourself in case this pair suddenly reverses like it did yesterday. So again, like I said, have this in mind, that now the pair could be traveling further north if it continues to remain below the 0.9025 territory. EURUSD, So this one is, yes, it did move a little bit higher, of course not as strongly as the British pound, and we can see here by the Euro GBP pair, but the most important is that the pair remains above this 1.1831 zone. So in a way, for now, there is a good chance for this one to move higher. Still, as like I said, as long as it remains above this territory, if it does, then yes, the next target is the 1.1918 territory right here, so marked by the high of the 10th of September, and then, like I said, we'll take it from there. But at the moment, like I said, I'll keep it short and simple. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because at the moment it's just a little bit on the kind of weaker side. I mean, it's not really that much exciting, I would say, in this pair, but again, it depends on your trading style. Maybe you do see some good opportunities here. At the moment, like I said, if the rate remains above this 1.1831, my next target is the 1.1918 level. So guys, I really hope you found it useful, and really appreciate your time joining in here, guys, and watching this one till the end. I really appreciate that. I really do. So if you want to catch my video later on, my trader's tea time, as always, 13:15 GMT time. 13:15 GMT time. Yep. But for now, have a nice trading day. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.